So you're thinking about moving to the Woodlands, Texas, just north of Houston. And listen, I don't blame you. The Woodlands is a phenomenal, special, unique, gorgeous place. However, with any place worth living, there's going to be some cons, right? And so in today's video, before you pull the trigger on moving to the Woodlands, I want you to focus and listen in on this video because I'm going to go over the top 6 things that kind of suck about the Woodlands and are cons about the Woodlands. And it's something you should be aware of. And I just want to be transparent of being born and raised out in this area on what you would be dealing with living out here in terms of the cons of living in the Woodlands. So if that's you and you're thinking about moving to the Woodlands, Texas, let's check out the 6 reasons why maybe you shouldn't live here. All right, reason number 1, I'm going to keep it simple and just stick to the point. It is very, very wooded, okay? So the Woodlands is very true to its name. There's woods everywhere. In fact, you're going to have a reserve of trees in front of just about everything. And so you're literally surrounded by green trees, which is very pretty and very different than anywhere else that you go. And it's very cohesive. And so I'll give the Woodlands that, right? It's very pretty, very cohesive. However, it can be extremely hard to find things because everything looks the same, right? So even if you're looking for a gas station, it's going to be behind a 50-foot reserve of trees. You got to find the little gas station sign that's, sometimes even pretty brown in and of itself with muted colors because they really want everything to blend in and just, they want you to feel like you're immersed in the woods. And good job, Woodlands, because that's how you feel when you're there. But like I said, with that said, even if you're looking for shopping centers, commercial, all of that, it's hidden behind trees. And so, being born and raised out in the Spring area just south of the Woodlands, we went out there a lot as a family to enjoy the amenities like the mall and Market Street and all that good stuff. And, when you get into the Woodlands and you're kind of driving around, and you don't have your GPS going and you don't know all your street names super well, everything looks the same, and it can be even tough to figure out how to get out of there because there's only so many ways in and out of this area. So, look, a lot of people see it as a pro, right? But, it could also be a con when there's just trees and woods everywhere. There's also tons of hidden blind spots when you're driving. So let's say you're trying to make a left-hand turn around a median or something like that. Rather than that median be open to where you can see the oncoming traffic, you actually have a giant hedge of trees, and they don't even clean up the trees. It's a thicket of trees, and so it looks very natural. And again, it's very pretty, but it can be extremely hard to see that oncoming traffic come on until you just are out into the road. And so a lot of times it makes for some dangerous conditions on the driving and, with traffic and everything. So all that to say, I have heard the complaint and I have felt it myself when driving in the Woodlands that it could be entirely too wooded. Okay, reason number 2 that you may not want to live into the Woodlands are the home prices are astronomical. So you can get a lot more bang for your buck, literally 10 minutes south of the Woodlands in the Spring area or 10 minutes north of the Woodlands in the Conroe area where I reside. And we'll go through that in a minute, but basically the average price per square foot in the Woodlands is going to be like 150 to 170 plus per square foot. And to give you some perspective and to give you an idea of like what you can get out here for your money, I went ahead and just found a typical listing out here in the Woodlands and went and toured it for you guys. So we're going to be rolling that on the B-roll while I talk about it. But this home right here that we're talking about is $470,000. So that may seem affordable to you, but here are the cons, okay? So it was built in 1987, so it needed a new HVAC. I don't know how old the roof was. Obviously you're going to have older electrical components and plumbing, and so it needed a lot of work beyond the obvious renovations, right? This house is very dated. They may have come in and added some of this flooring in the early 2000s maybe, but a lot of these homes out in the Woodlands are simply that. They've been renovated at some point or maybe never renovated, and they were built in the 70s and 80s, maybe the early 90s, and so they need a lot of work. They need a lot of renovations, they need a lot of updating, and they could be very ugly. And besides that, they're also very compartmental, so they're not very open concept because that's just how they built homes back then. So even if you want to come in and give it a facelift, it still doesn't live very practically to what we are looking for in today's standards with that open concept living, kitchen, higher ceilings, things of that nature. Now, you can find them, but they go very quickly. Anytime there's high ceilings or people have made the renovations and updates, then these homes go for top dollar in literally a weekend of being on the market. and they get multiple offer situations and they get bid up because they're just rare gems that people want, that move-in ready turnkey beautiful home in the Woodlands, because it's really tough to find. And those can go for 300, 400, 500 plus per square foot, depending on the section and of course the house and all the bells and whistles that they have. So with this house, as we're touring it, you can see it's very compartmental. It feels very small. In fact, it's 1,974 square feet, so it's just under 2,000 square feet. It's a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. And, you know, beyond the updates, the obvious updates, I believe it had an older roof. It needed a new HVAC system, more than likely. I think the HVAC system was over 15 years old. You know, probably needed a new water heater. And then these floors and everything else just need to be updated. And then once you do all of that, how do you kind of get around just this floor plan? It sucks. It felt like the ceilings were so low because it was 8-foot standards back then, and these days they usually do 9 or 10-foot ceilings on average, standard. And so it felt like the ceiling was kind of coming down on me in that living room space that was a little bit open to that kitchen. And so this is $236 per square foot at $470,000. What you could get in spring for $470,000 is going to be probably a 3,500 square foot, maybe even 4,000 square foot, 2-story home on a giant, 10,000 square foot lot in, one of my old neighborhoods I lived in Cypresswood. Look it up. Homes on average go for 105, 110 to like 130 a square foot. And that's not just dated homes, those are probably nicely remodeled homes, move-in ready. So they still could be older, but, much more ready, move-in ready and just nicer to live in. So you get up into Conroe, you've got new construction going in the 185 to 200 per square foot, but it's new construction. You get warranties, you get these open concept floor plans. You usually get a very robust size home, a decent lot. Some of the lots can be pretty small. But, you also get way better amenities inside of your neighborhood with what they're doing in today's standards in these communities. So, with the Woodlands, it's chock full of amenities, but it's also massive, So you kind of have to drive around each village to get a taste for all the different playgrounds, the green belts that are all interconnected, the pools. There's like over 14 different pools spread across all of the acreage of, the Woodlands. And so, it's not exactly right around the corner from your home to enjoy everything. And so there's a lot more affordability to be had if you get in outside of the Woodlands, because you're just going to pay top dollar for these old homes that typically need renovations. Or if you happen to find one that's been remodeled, be prepared to go into a multiple offer situation, get bid up, and overpay for a house that, frankly, you can get the exact same thing 10, 15 minutes south of it for, probably half the price, maybe a third of the price. So just keep that in mind, that while you look in the Woodlands, you're going to be paying top dollar on home prices. Now, before I get into reason 3, if this is your first time to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for viewing. I hope you're getting value out of this. And if you are, don't forget to hit that like button, smash the subscription button, and hit the notification bell so you get notified on all things North Houston that I post weekly. Now, if you don't already know who I am, my name is Mark Archer, and not only am I a local resident born and raised out here in the North Houston area, but I'm also a local realtor for the better part of 5 years, helping people just like you relocate out here to the North Houston area. So if that describes you and you're looking for Houston to be your next home, please click the link below and let's get connected so we can see if Houston is a good fit for you. Now, if that's not your speed, you can always call me, text me, send me an email, and we can get connected that way. And again, just see if Houston's a good fit for you. So thanks for tuning in, and let's get back after it right now. Reason number 3 is going to be that it's overcrowded. So there's about 120,000 residents in this community, or this township now. It's a master plan community that turned into a township. And so there's 120,000 residents, give or take, living in all of the dwellings within it. But also you have people coming in and out in droves every day to enjoy all the amenities like the mall and, Market Street and all the things. Even the playgrounds, they're all kind of open to the public. And so, it's very crowded. The traffic can be horrible. In fact, there's only so many ways in and out. So you've got Woodlands Parkway, obviously, that runs all the way through the front of the Woodlands to the back. And then you have Research Forest. And those are really the main 2 roads or veins that will run you all the way front to back in this township. And then going across it laterally, or perpendicular to it, I should say, you have Kirkendall kind of coming from Spring, going all the way to the 242 to get you into Conroe. And then you have Gosling as well. And those two roads run across. And then after that, it's a grid system of all the different roads to connect to one to the next. And so when there's only so many ways in and out of this area and this community, that means it could be very traffic heavy. And this is kind of like all the time, really. I mean, even like a Tuesday at 10 a.m. at all these lights, at Six Pines and Gosling and Kirkendall and all these different, Panthers Creek, all of them, they're loaded with people. There's businesses throughout. And people, like I said, are coming into the Woodlands destinationally to enjoy whatever's there that they want to enjoy, the mall, or maybe they have a dentist appointment or something they got to get into. And so there's just always people. It's super overcrowded, and it just can feel very tightly squeezed when you're there, and just can be bothersome. It could take longer to get through the Chick-fil-A that's located in the Woodlands than maybe in Spring or Conroe locations. It could take longer to, get into really any kind of concession or gas station or restaurant, because there's just more people and everybody's kind of trying to be in the same place at the same time, if that makes sense. So it's overcrowded, and for that reason, it's got to be one of my top 3 reasons why you wouldn't maybe want to live there. Number 4 is going to be the exclusivity. So typically when you're in a master plan community, it's pretty darn exclusive. In fact, you get little fobs a lot in these new master plan communities out all around Houston area. And, so when it comes to getting into the pool or the playground, they're gated, and it's really just for the community, dwellers, the people that live there. Well, with the Woodlands, a lot of this stuff is just not very exclusive at all. And so, as an outsider, that's cool. I could take my kids to any of the mini playgrounds that are there because it's open. They've got really nice parks and playgrounds, and there's a skate park, and there's tennis courts and all of that. But you don't really need anything to get into it. Most of it's just open. The only thing that is really kind of exclusive are the pools. They are gated. You do typically need a membership or a fob to get into them. And as a Woodlands, resident, you can get passes, but you still have to pay a little extra for those passes. So you get a discount if you live there. But however, they offer these season passes to anyone. So if I wanted to buy a season pass and have access to all 14 pools amongst the 9 villages in the Woodlands, I can. I'm going to pay a little bit more of a premium because I don't live there, but I can do that. I could buy that for my whole family, and I can enjoy all of it, which again, that's cool for me as an outsider. But if someone that lives there wants a little bit more of that exclusivity, you're not going to really get that in the Woodlands because the mall is obviously public. Market Street, you've got the pavilion, you've got all the different shopping in the different villages, which are really kind of intended for the people that live in each village. The Woodlands is made up of 9 different villages, which are essentially 9 different sections of homes that have different, price ranges and sizes and amenities and things like that. But so it's just not as exclusive as you would think. I can hop on these greenbelt trails whenever I want. I just have to maybe drive out there, find some parking, and then I can hop on them, and they're all interconnected, right? And so I could really kind of come and go as I please as a non-resident on all of these amenities, including the parks and playgrounds. And that can make it, again, just more crowded because there's just an influx of people coming in and out, because the Woodlands is very special and it is very destinational. And so people seek getting out there and enjoying it, whether they live there or not. And for that reason, I have to add it to my list. It's number 4. It's not very exclusive. So number 5, I'm just going to put this as it's bougie, okay? Or it's expensive, I guess. That's the better way to put it. So living out there, it's going to be a pretty lavish lifestyle. So when you get into Market Street in the mall, there's a lot of high-end shopping. You've got the Gucci. You've got, Tommy Bahamas. You can get yourself a Rolex out there. I mean, you've got all the high-end shopping. Of course, there's other more, suitable, reasonable shopping. You've got TJ Maxx and, Bed Bath & Beyond and Target and all the other normal stuff outside of the mall. But with that said, I just noticed everything is bougie out there and more expensive. In fact, living in Spring my whole life, we kind of held the Woodlands in high regard. Not only were they rivals in school sports and all of that stuff, they were just kind of like, to me, growing up in lower or I guess middle class, they just had this uppity feeling about them, and that was because the Woodlands knows they're on a pedestal. I mean, they've been rated the number 1 place to live in America several times over by many different outlets, and so they kind of have that walk and talk and expense to living out there. So besides the home prices that are just ridiculous on how expensive they can be, shopping and just the lifestyle, the restaurants, even the gas I notice is more expensive out there because they can just get away with it, frankly. So if you get outside of the Woodlands, you could probably get gas for 30, 40 cents cheaper than you do inside the Woodlands. It's kind of like when you buy gas like near the airport, they just jack up the price because of the location. The Woodlands does the same thing, I've noticed. And, same goes for the restaurants and just the lifestyle and the culture out there is very bougie and very expensive. And so for that reason, for me to save on my pocketbook and my budget, I spend a lot less money being out in the condo area, not only saving on my home price, but also just the living and the lifestyle that I live. Everything around me is going to be a little bit more affordable and cheaper. And for that reason, I had to add this as my number 5, as it's just very expensive out there in the Woodlands. And you maybe want to know about that before you move out there. Number 6 on my list, the last thing I'm going to say is there's no new construction. Now, there's a couple of exceptions to the rule, right? With this neighborhood, there are deed and covenant restrictions, but they're a little loose. And so with that said, some developers and contractors and flippers have opted to just come in, buy an old house, and because of what I mentioned earlier, that some of these homes are just impossible to remodel and open up. They're so compartmental. It's just not what we want. They'll just mow the house down and build a new house. And so you'll have those one-offs in random neighborhoods, but of course what they'll do is they'll take down a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-story home, and they'll put a 2-story, 4-bedroom, 2,500 to 3,000 square foot home, loaded to the nines on all of the different upgrades and things. And so then it's just ridiculously expensive price because, again, they can get away with that in the Woodlands, but it also can kind of stick out like a sore thumb, right? It doesn't really blend into the neighborhood when you have a 70s home built in the 80s, and then boom, brand new house that, just looks modern and what people want today, but don't assimilate or fit into the traditional style homes that you see in the Woodlands. And so for that reason, I wouldn't really recommend it, but they could be very tasteful, nice homes in the Woodlands, brand new, but they're just very random as to when they come about and when these contractors get them up and going. And a lot of times they do go pretty quickly for top dollar because people are looking for that and waiting. There's literally people on the fence that just wait for opportunities like that to come along when they can jump on it. And so they go for it. It'll go for top dollar, of course. Minus that, you've got some condos. There's literally one condominium complex outside of Grogan's right off of 45 that's offering some anywhere from 1 to 3 bedroom condos, and they're brand new. And they're almost done, but I did hear they're going to build another section. And so you've got some newer condominiums. And that's really about it. There are a few random little communities like Enclave at the Woodlands, in the Woodlands, but they're not zoned to the Woodlands School. So you do have access to the amenities. They do have a Woodlands address, but it's kind of in its own little section. It's not part of the 9 villages, which is like Woodlands proper. And so for that reason, I don't really label it as, new construction inside of the Woodlands, although I guess technically it is. And that's almost done. All you have is Toll Brothers left, and they are getting away with murder, you guys. They are selling these homes that you can buy in another community for $600,000-700,000 for like $900,000 to $1 million plus, just because of the location, right? We always preach that in real estate: location, location, location. It affects the price. I mean, it is probably one of the number one drivers of price when it comes to a home. And so at the end of the day, there's no new construction left. It's been a development for 50 years. In fact, they're celebrating 50 years this year in 2024. They started development with the first village in 1974. And so a lot of these homes were built in the 70s and 80s and 90s. And so if you don't want a super old home, maybe go towards some of the villages that were developed at the tail end of the Woodlands being completed. So you have Sterling Ridge in the back, and then you have Creekside Park, kind of on the southwest side of the Woodlands, and those were developed into the mid-2000s. And so sometimes you can find a house that's like 2012, 2014, maybe 2016, that were just at the very tail end of development. But if you find a home in the 2000s built, that's a pretty new home in the Woodland standards, because most of the Woodlands, like the grand bulk of it, 80-90% of it was built from the 70s to the 90s. So there's no new construction really in Woodlands proper. Now, with that said, there are some communities that offer new construction. In fact, there's one community, and if you want to check that out, this video right here, it's called River's Edge, that literally one community left that's zoned to the Woodlands High School, but it's not in the Woodlands. It's just across in South Conroe, across 1488. So it's technically not the Woodlands, but it's zoned to the Woodland schools. And a lot of times that's what people are, you know, gravitating towards when they move to the Woodlands, is they want these really highly sought out, recognized schools. And so, truth be told, Conroe ISD is an A-rated district, and a lot of that are because of the Woodland schools. They are part of the Conroe ISD district. And so, anyways, with all that to say, there's no new construction, and so you're kind of limited, and all you can really do are buy these older homes or look for these one-offs that are here and there, or a nicely renovated older home, and that would put you maybe in a position to get something nice that you're looking for in the Woodlands. So overall, if you can handle these things, these 6 things that I listed off, then the Woodlands is probably a great fit, because, like, again, I don't want to crap on the Woodlands. It is a unique, special, very beautiful place, and it is so different than anywhere. There's nothing else like it or compares to it, and there's a reason why people just seek it, and it's just such a destinational place. Beyond that, I live just outside of the Woodlands, so my house was a lot cheaper. I was able to get a new construction home with the warranties and all that. I have a nice community that backs up to a park with great amenities. So you can find a lot of what you're looking for in the Woodlands just outside of it. And then if you're okay with not being in it and just having close proximity to it, there's a lot you can do there. And so definitely, check out this video here. It's going to be a vlog on the Woodlands. If this is the first video you're seeing that just talks about all the crappy parts about the Woodlands, you're definitely going to want to check this video out that goes over the full vlog of the Woodlands. Or if you're still considering Houston as a whole, check this video out. I go over the top 6 reasons why North Houston is the best place to be in the Houston. So until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video.